Hello, Captain. Welcome if this is your first time here. Welcome back if you are returning. I am Captain Cash, the Stampede. It is time for our 2 week weekly reset. We do get a limited time reset every week, but every 2 weeks we have things like generally patch notes and large maintenance that take place, and we will be going over those patch notes today. But first, I did want to jump into the Smugglers Network, and we also need to go check out the helm because we are back into an event that requires us to take a peek at the wares back there. But we are looking at, let's see, all right. The recently nerfed brace gun walls are available. We have the mine clearing locker. You're really only gonna use this if you are having an issue with convoys, because they are really the only element in the game right now that even uses mines that can damage us, the player. So if you do not like those and you would just like for them to be less effective, that is a piece of furniture for you to check out. The Secret Cache 1. This is just really to help those who are finding themselves encumbered when you're getting to the end of some of these events. Right now in the sandbox, anything defensive to protect your ship is pretty useless. So if you are doing a lot of Oostin runs and you find yourself being encumbered after those, throw in the Secret Cache 1 and it can help you out. Last piece here is the Pain Piper. This is a crew attack build, but it's more for PvP for when you are over there and getting hit by player crew attacks. For weapons, Twin Winch Ballista, the Full Elise, which I do need to purchase a few more of because I have been experimenting with these. Matter of fact, I'll go to right now. And for armor, we are looking at the Tanasha. Oh, totally didn't see the shot carving station. So this is for taunting. Taunting is currently being worked on in the game here and there. So if you are sort of, experimenting with taunt, this is a good piece of furniture to use. This and no, that is the there it is. And the Pain Piper. These are major pieces of furniture, so I like to always point that out because I have legitimately spent materials on major furniture that I thought was minor furniture and I was going to be able to use right away, and now it's just sitting in my warehouse because I made that mistake. So I don't want you to do the same thing. The Tanasha is still available. Great piece of armor to use against Vikram Rajan if you're out there doing that, or if you're taking on the Fleet of Pestilence. This just reduces the buildup of negative effects, or if the effect is active, it will reduce the duration of it instead. So, very good piece of armor. There's a piece of furniture that helps make this better, but sadly it is currently not in the game. The ship that is on display here, we have the Garuda. So if you did not pick up the Garuda blueprint, this may be the last week of the year for you to get it. It could be available the last 2 weeks. I could see the devs, just writing out the Garuda for the rest of the season, but do not take that chance. Pick it up now if you have not already. All right, so now for the helm. Now, as we get going here, pretty much what you're looking at with this event, you're looking for bloody doubloons. You're going to be getting this currency, which, there they are. I have 508, so while the event was down, I couldn't see the bloody doubloons in my warehouse. So I assumed one of two things had happened. The devs just wiped the amount that we had, or they were hidden when the event was, not active. And, luckily for me, the second option was the right one. So yeah, we still have whatever bloody doubloons you had during the last event. You should still have them now. And once this event is over with, I would wager we would see this coming in again in the next seasons. So if you don't end up using all of your bloody doubloons, there is a good chance that they just kind of exist out there in the void when the honorless event is not live. Yep, as I expected, the Klein Carteau. So this is the demi cannon that is the little cousin to the other Carteau whose name I can't think of right now. But we got a long gun that was in the battle pass or our season pass or whatever you want to call it. It was in there, and now we have the demi cannon again. These are not too bad. They do the exact same thing as the long guns, except for the chance to get the inflict a delayed explosion. It's just way less. So um, that is because the shots from a demi cannon, it spreads out like a shotgun, and there are 18 little tiny pellets, I guess you can think of, when it shoots out. So there's a 3% chance per pellet for this to happen. So I don't want you to think it's like 3%, you know, per shot. Technically it is, but it's not 3% chance. You're getting 3% chances at getting the imminent bang. The other weapon you were able to get, which you should be getting as a drop if you are playing certain tier 2 activities, but that's going to be the Divine Wind. I did a pretty good build with this cannon. You'll see the video in the top right popping up right now. I'll also link it at the end of today's video, so if you think if you're a Sam Book main, or if you just want to take the build from that I did in the Sam Book and put it on your favorite ship, yeah, you can do that. Really good build. I find it to be very effective. Fusing station, it was nerfed unfortunately, but this is something that can help out your bow and stern weapons, helps their damage and reload time. Bombardment one. This goes with, of course, the Divine Wind, or if you are just someone who is a fan of bombards, throw a couple on your ship. As you see, I have 9. Actually, I have 10. 1 on my ship equipped currently, and 9 just sitting there waiting to be used. So definitely a good piece of furniture. Bombard powder house, if you don't have that already, again, just helps out. These are going to drop for you. These are going to drop for you in the game. The real good thing is stuff like this. Man, I need these ill-sturdy ropes. They only let me buy 2. What do you mean? Oh no, limited stock is 15. Only let me buy 2 because I have only 500 doubloons. But this is more than likely where you're going to be spending your bits, as well as picking up the Ascension chest, which is probably what I should have gotten instead. But the Ascension chest will get you a large amount of upgrade materials and Ascension modules, because you can buy up to 5 of these at a time. I think it was 7 during the last event, so kind of sucks they reduced the amount. But if you are good on Ascension chests, this is where you want to spend the rest of your doubloons for the last 2 weeks of this event, because there is a strong chance our frigate, our new large ship, is going to use some of these materials. And as you see, like myself, I have none in my warehouse right now. I have 25 of them that I need to pick up from the refiner, but I am hurting on those. I'm hurting on this, I'm hurting on that. None of these I have a substantial amount, so that's where I will be spending my bloody doubloons, because I do have an okay stockpile of Ascension modules and upgrade parts. Alright, so before I read the maintenance notes, we are in the last 2 weeks of our season, which is great because, again, just as I mentioned, we will be going into, we will be introduced to our larger ships. And I also believe that we have this DMC Company Royale storyline that's going to start next season as well. So I am curious to see how that goes. But the Honorless event is going to essentially be here for the next 2 weeks. So we should not have to worry about it not being up at all. Like, seriously, get out there, grind, get ready for next season. The Glory Adorned event, same thing. It's going to be here for the next 2 weeks as well. The only things that are going to change, we get 1 week of the Great Shadu, the seasonal boss. So that is the big Vikram fight that you'll find out there on the northwest portion of the map. And we have our Risen Sea Monsters, which will pop up the following week. So Vikram first, and then the Sea Monsters will help us wrap up our final our final week. And then we finish everything off with a double Cup for Bar event weekend. Again, perfect time to farm, because when the next season starts, the Smugglers Network is going to have things for you to purchase with Cup for Bars. So go ahead and stockpile now so that you can have everything you want on day 1 out of the Smugglers Network. Right, Captain. So that wraps up the weekly reset. Pretty chunky, but we'll get through these patch notes as fast as possible. Now, just another quick fun fact. I do these from my PlayStation, so I don't have the ability to click on this patch note thing that I'm going to click on right here and have you see the actual patch notes themselves. I'll be able to see them so I can read them to you. Just makes it easier for me when I'm making these videos. But there will be a link to the actual patch notes themselves. So if you want to take a read yourself, just open up the descriptions and have at it. So now, click these, pull up the notes. So we are looking at maintenance July 1st. Let's see, read more, and here we go. All right, this upcoming update primarily focuses on balancing our PvP's content and time to kill, or TTK for the uninitiated, in World Tier 2, more specifically, as a next step in our ongoing work to review and improve game balancing and difficulty rewards for both PvE and PvP. In addition to the changes listed below, several items are being looked at to be addressed in future updates. First, high damage shots from AI ships, or one-shot deaths. We are aware of the frustration caused by specific scenarios where certain AI ships' damage output causes players to be instantly sunk. We're currently reviewing each of these scenarios to be adjusted accordingly. For me, it is mainly just piercing, so I hope that just the front or bow on some of the sharpshooters is reduced, because that happens a lot. There are a few bosses that will one-shot you. That's not as frustrating as not realizing that you're being targeted by a smaller ship that takes you out. So that's what's getting it for me. Jump in the comments and let me know what AI ships are one-shotting you. Megafort Houston as a main source of pieces of 8 and crafting materials. I do not feel that the developers get the assignment here, but the note says we're aware that Megafort Houston has remained the favorite and most efficient way for many of you to progress through Year 2 Season 1. We will be reviewing most of our PvP encounters to ensure they all provide a fun, challenging, and rewarding experience in the future. Now, that is good, but that is not the assignment. We want rotating forts in Skull and Bones. We don't want to always have to go to Megafort Houston to have the best reward. Have a large reward, or large, plunder, that a reward that you get, and have it go to different forts around the map. They don't have to go to the ones that are inside of the small canals, but there are plenty of other forts where we could pile up and get that same juicy reward, but just not in the same place. So while yes, getting everything boosted and having all of the rewards being boosted across the map is good, but we want one event or one fort that has a great payout that rotates across the map. All right, so if any of you are listening, or any of you developers are watching this, which we sneakily think that maybe some of you may be watching our vids, that's the assignment. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure you're taking notes on that. Certain ships and loadouts remain significantly unpopular choices. Now, we understand some ships and equipment require more significant attention from us to become viable and interesting options in both PvE and PvP. We are continuing our efforts to review and improve various various of these items to that effect. Improve various items to that effect. So yeah, so again, someone who writes these doesn't proofread. But okay, that's good. They're working on some of the more unpopular ships. Jump in and let me know what you think that is, because likely it's just going to be some of our smaller ships. If they do think the Padua Kang is, an unpopular ship, which I feel like it might be for some people, that could be cool, because I wouldn't be mad at a Padua Kang buff, because I like that ship already. High costs required by item ascension. We are aware that many of you feel that the amount of time and effort required to ascend your weapons is too high. We are looking at options to alleviate this and encourage more players to build a larger variety of ship builds. Yeah, it just costs too much. Way too much, especially for the amount of these things that we're getting out there in the world. It was designed this way on purpose. There's no excuse. The developers wanted us to be out there grinding. They didn't want it to be easy. Unfortunately, they did not find a balance with it. So hopefully they do get that sorted out. And I actually skipped one. balancing the entire game for both PvP and PvE and its negative impact on the overall PvP experience. This is important. We are aware that many of you felt strong disappointment with our recent balancing update and believe the changes should have been implemented for Death Tides only. Future future adjustments to ship and ship equipment will be analyzed separately between our dedicated PvP game modes and the rest of our PvP activities in the Indian Ocean. They do put down here at the end, though, that we will make targeted changes that can affect or impact PvP respectively when necessary. This is huge because I was under the impression that the game was made in a way that it just was easier for them to put it out this way, right? Every game has this decision if they're going to have a sandbox for PvE and PvP, and I thought that this decision came down to the limits of the actual engine. This is great because it sounds like they're already going to make this change. This is something I thought was not going to be able to be done until either another season or maybe even next year, because that seems like a tough thing to implement. But me being a couch developer, I hope that it sounds like it would be easy, but I don't know nothing about game development no more than any of you, so I just assumed it was something that's tough. But no, it sounds like future adjustments to ships and ship equipment will be analyzed separately between our modes. So I'm hoping that means 2 different sandboxes. If I'm reading that incorrectly, then we'll find out soon enough. But if that's not what they're going for, again, I hope they're getting the assignment on that, because that's what we want. PvP should be its own beast. PvE should be its own beast. And as we get over here, let's see, custom ship builds are significantly outperforming builds in PvP. I don't really care about that, but those of you that do, it looks like they're looking into that. Alright, balance changes. AI ships. They have lowered the whole health of AI ships above rank 10 and above, which is great. The amount of whole health reduction impacts the AI ship's rank. While there are some minor variations across the continent, this generally relates to AI ships of ship rank 10, decrease of 5% health. AI ships at rank 15 get a whole decrease of 25%. Ships at level 20 are going to be decreased by 35%. There's a developer note here. The difficulty for higher ship rank AI ships was tuned for ships built with equipment for high tier ascended weapons. These adjustments are designed to bring the current time to kill down to our closer target. I don't believe that they hit this target I don't even think they hit the board. What they're saying here is that they tried to increase the whole health because they assumed that the higher tiered ascendant weapons were going to be a lot stronger than they were. There's no fucking way. You're only giving us minuscule percentages for some of the things. Some of these perks you can get like 30 or 40 or 50%, but these are very dumbass perks. Nothing powerful. There's nothing in this game that is going to, aside from the stuff that was happening with the Garuda, of course, but there's nothing else in this game that justified the type of health that these guys were getting. All right, they should have started out at half health. You start low with this and then you build it up. You're like, oh, we noticed that you guys are taking out the AI ships too fast. We're gonna buff the health in it. You don't start high and then reduce. All right, this is some of that knee-jerk reaction shit that they did with the balance update. All right, so I'm hoping that this gets changed because, or that mentality gets changed, because this is the exact type of reason why we are where we are now. They assumed one thing, and instead of implementing it in a little bit, they went way too hard body with it. All right, anyway, sorry for my rant. Gameplay changes, dynamic encounters. Now, we actually have been seeing these in our streams. We will go to certain activities, and once the activity ends, you get absolutely rushed by the chorus fleet. All right, this is supposed to actually be a dynamic encounter. That sucks that some of you are actually running into this, and it's kind of hurting your runs. But this is something that they're looking at. So significantly reduce the probability of encountering dynamic encounters in World Tier 2. All right. So developer note, overlapping events are already a problem in World Tier 2 because the difficulty spikes in the encounters. but we believe that dynamic encounters can bring unique and unexpected experiences, which is true. It's very fun when we do them when they're done right. But we also believe the feature needs further adjustments to avoid becoming a source of frustration, which it is starting to become. Changes are above our a temporary measure while we work on longer-term systemic improvement. So I know Chester is going to be upset about hearing that the time has been reduced, that we won't see it, but it seems like this is just a thumb in the dam type situation. They're just going to do this for now, reduce the possibility of it happening while they come up with a better way of implementing it. Not bad. Bug fixes, let's finish this up. Ship management, was an issue fixed where ships were, it's a death tide thing. So fixed an issue where ships rewarded through the death tide reward track were consistently not saving the weapons, armor, and furniture that you applied on. So that has been fixed. And there are some known issues that are still being looked at. So they didn't talk about them today, but they're still being looked at. Main one is going to be the mega fort stuff. So fort plunders stop progressing at some point, under investigation. Front guns of Megafort Oosting respawning after being destroyed, under investigation. Crew mutinies randomly happening, under investigation. And the buyout icon not shown on Smuggler in the minimap until close proximity. I'm not having an issue with that, but any of you who are having an issue with these Smuggler not being shown up on the minimap until you get close to them, also under investigation. Good to see that the developers are listening to us, even though sometimes they're not getting the assignment in full. Because again, the problem with Megafort Houston isn't the fact that it's the only place that we can get a great reward. It's because we're tired of running fucking Fort Houston. Well, Premia is there, Deucer is there, Pakoko is there, Granby is there. Even, Grand Fort. I mean, there are forts that could rotate that specific reward. That's what we want, developers. We have no problem with the entire reward structure being elevated, but we want to not have to keep looking at the same thing over and over again. Variety is the spice of life. So, one week have Houston be the place where you can get all of the pieces of 8, get the most pieces of 8, the most rewards for Ascendant modules and upgrade modules and Masterwork kits. And then the next week it's Granby. And then the next week it's Percoco. Put that reward on the forts and put it on a rotating fort thing. That's the assignment. Yes, we want to get paid out better for everything, but again, just wanted to point out that sometimes the developers, we give them A and they come back with B, and it's weird that they even brought B in the first place. So I'm rambling, but I'm going to wrap it up. That has been another chunky video that we've put out for you, so I do hope you guys like these longer form videos. We'll get back into some shorter stuff soon, but with the season being in the last 2 weeks, we're kind of, going through our our filler period, just like an anime. So once we get out of our filler period, we'll get back into some regular stuff. We're still going to be streaming on the weekends. Again, sorry, this past Saturday we did not make it, but we still meet up in the Discord. So even though I didn't stream, the Discord still got together. They still jumped in and sailed around and got some rewards, and I even jumped in there with them later on. So jump into into the descriptions, and you will see the link for the Discord. So if you think you want to join us and not miss out on our meetups, that's an easy way to do that. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for coming out. I have been Captain Cash the Stampede, and we'll see you in the seas. Take it easy out there.